Hello again. My name's Johnny, and today I'm going to be recapping my last year of building new levels or maps for a 25-year-old arena shooter game called Unreal Tournament. I had intended to have this finished by now, but I'm currently seeking a new job because my role has become redundant. So that's taken up a bit of time, obviously, finding new jobs. So it's 20 years now since I first released that map pack in 2005. My plan was to have it out by December 5th to have a whole 20-year anniversary from the first map pack to this one, but that's life, I guess. So I'm going to try and finish it by Christmas. So 20 years and 20 days. Apologies to all the Brazilian fans of cat animation. My biggest audience seems to be female Brazilians who love cat animation. So apologies if you're watching this and wondering what the hell is this guy talking about and where are the musical cat videos. I do apologize. I will do another musical cat video at some point next year. So map number 1, this is a bit of a remix of the original level. Just made some fixes for things like there were several areas in the basement that you would get snagged on when you're sort of dodging and stuff. So I've made like a ramp there, if I just show you. The original level had a bunch of steps which you'd get caught on if you were trying to dodge. So that's been replaced now, and a few minor tweaks. Other than that, mostly just bot pathing fixes and stuff like that. This map is called Cube Woot, and it's a new map for this year. It has a lot of diagonal crossing paths, so it gets quite hectic in the middle there. And yeah, I really like the texture pack. This is SG Tech, I think one of the bonus pack texture packs. So that's all the sort of level detail there. I just love these really intricate looking sort of sci-fi textures. So that's that. So this was a map submitted by a friend of mine called Dead Meat back in 2009, and what I've done is just added. The original was a very simple layout, and what I've done is just added a few more platforms and stuff, a few more routes, added lighting and bot pathing and all that kind of stuff. And this chap here is his original forum avatar from way back when, in the early aughts. So this one was one I was working on, probably again 2009. A very simple layout, somewhat of a homage to one of the original Unreal Tournament maps, and I love the bright colours, sort of Mario style almost. The saturation there on the greens and the blues and the reds. A very simple layout, just 2 kickers per side, so you'll get a lot of clashes in the air, but that's kind of part of the fun, I think, is timing your bounce across so you don't collide with someone else. And if you're playing Instagib, then that's also fun when you can just go flying through someone's intestines as you explode them when you go across the gap. This one is another homage to an original Unreal Tournament map. The original had low gravity, this one doesn't. It's all based on obviously the kickers. It has some really quite nice level traversal. There's lots of different routes you can go along. And generally, I think it's probably one of my favourite maps for style and just gameplay. Lots of opportunities here to stop the flag capture last minute, so you can snipe someone from across the map and stop them capturing that flag last minute. This is another map based on a original Unreal Tournament map, another homage. It doesn't actually contain any of the original geometry. It's more of a spiritual successor. This one has lots of side routes, and if I just follow one of the bots, lots of opportunity again to sort of chase people down on these side corridors and stuff. And in this middle section, you can actually take a shorter route across, but there's more risk because you're kind of exposed. There's no cover. So this one I actually built this year as a homage to Deck 16, one of the original deathmatch maps from actually before Unreal Tournament. So when Unreal came out, they had a multiplayer element to it, or bot matches. And so this has somewhat of a homage to that with the very old school 1998 textures, with a couple of new ones that I've added to sort of make it a bit more detailed, some new lamps and stuff. So this retains some of the original elements of the map. Because it's captured the flag though, things are mirrored to make things a bit fairer. If you imagine a football match where one side of the pitch is a different shape, that would be advantageous to one team. So I've had to take a little artistic license here and make this whole sort of middle area and stuff. But I think it still works. It still retains the spirit of the original map. And I've tried to add some detail without actually making it too dissimilar to the original. So there's still things like the layout and stuff, where the sniping spot is, and this is from about 2009 again. This is another one of my maps from 2009. I've made quite a few tweaks, like the skybox, the radio towers there on top of the buildings, and a few other tweaks like the fog and stuff, just to make it a bit more sort of colourful. This has lots of different routes across again, and there's a few ways to take shortcuts, jumping off the top of buildings onto the kickers and stuff. So this map was inspired by a guy on the UT99 forums called Hostile. He had sent me one of his maps with these two kind of big buildings opposite each other, and I thought, oh, that'd be actually quite cool if you did something with robots. So I made these giant robot faces, and you can fly through both the mouth and the eyes. So the eyes have a opaque texture from the outside, but from the inside you can see outwards. So this adds a bit of risk when you're taking these jumps. You don't know if someone's going to be emerging from the other side. Very simple skybox, but that's about it. So a very simple level, just 4 jump pads per side, suitable for smaller matches, I guess. So this was going to be a remake with the jump pads, a Woot remake of the original Unreal Tournament map, Eternal Caves, but I ended up just basically doing a completely new layout. So this hasn't actually been built in the editor. In the editor, you're mostly making things with cubes and primitive shapes. This is all effectively organic. So it gives I wouldn't say it's realistic, but it's kind of suggestive of kind of rocks and caves and stuff. And because it was built in Blender, I was able to do the kind of wave effect here on the lava. I'm aware it's not that realistic. I don't think lava has waves, but keeping with the lava theme, this was another new map built this year. So this is kind of somewhat inspired by the original Gnarly Castle from Unreal, the actual Unreal game. So this is situated in a giant crater, or possibly a volcano. And this has lots of different routes, diagonals and so on. So you can use a lot of air control when you're going across to then change your path and take shortcuts and stuff. You can't really see, but this is a custom texture I made which spells out Woot. The texture is animated, but a bit too subtly, so you can't actually tell that it is animated. And then let's go on to... So this map has seen some significant changes. This was one of the original maps from the original map pack. So with this one, I've changed up a lot of the textures. So I've made a new neon light texture here with some animation, so it looks a bit more smart. And then at the top, you've got a whole new layout here, which wasn't in the original map. And you've got some new stuff like a shield belt pickup and stuff. And there's a lot more. As you can see, you can transfer downwards from these high levels. You'll see the bot going down there. The bots will traverse the entire map and take most of the high sections as well. So you'll see them sort of falling like rain from a great height down onto the kickers below. So this was another new one this year. I did used to have a Tetris themed map, but it just didn't have a great flow. So I've started again from scratch and made it a bit more open. So The whole level is effectively built out of the classic Tetris shapes, and it's quite flat, but there's a few different sort of platforms and things you can jump from. So again, a few different paths, a few different routes, and obviously some custom Tetris themed music. Thanks for watching this far. I will hopefully have this out in the next 5 days, and then you can play these all yourself. Again, I'll include the link to Unreal Tournament, which is now being supported by the community. I'll link to Unreal Tournament so you can actually download and play these maps as well. I'll hopefully see you before Christmas with a released map pack finally.